And Bogaerts has been more clutch than ever,
Yeah,
so that's nice to see because that's what we're going to need. And it also might make him more expensive after next year too, but we'll see.
Every at bat he takes, he's going to get more expensive. So
one other thing,
and as for go ahead, Terry.
Well, no, you go ahead because I was going to change the subject.
Oh yeah, well, all right, perfect then. Right, real quick before we move on, Xander Bogaerts was the hottest hitter in baseball when he went out with a fluke injury, as well. So he could be playing even better right now and have better stats, I should say. Compared to Francisco Lindor, they are 100 plate at-bats apart. So Bogaerts has missed out on 100 at-bats compared to Lindor. Home run-wise, Bogaerts is 10 down. Doubles-wise, he's only 2 down. Average-wise, he's only 7 points down. RBIs, he has more. Triples, he has more. And strikeouts, he has less. Obviously, 100 plate appearances. And his WAR and his and his slugging percentage is only like 20 points lower.
The only, all those pretty much stand up except for the RBIs, because with Lindor leading off, he doesn't get many opportunities with people on base. So that one's kind of a throwout.
RBIs a throwout to fancy stats to make him look better. Just like you could say JD Martinez, he's batting 5th on the best team in baseball. 4th on the best team in baseball, so there you go. Yeah. But Lindor's been having a really good year. It was historic at one point because of all the home runs he's hitting as a shortstop.
As a leadoff hitter.
As a leadoff hitter as well. But he's come back down to earth, and if Bogaerts didn't miss that time, you can assume Bogaerts would have, 25 home runs right now?
Yep.
Batting 288, just like Lindor. So, in the last couple of years. But just a talking point, I love Bogaerts. I think he's worth it, and he will be getting paid a lot of money. But, I think he's worth it. I think he's just as good as Machado and Lindor and, all those other guys.
With Bogaerts, though, I think he was willing to sacrifice his batting average a little bit in terms of power. And
yep, 100%, because he was batting 320 when he was just poking things.
And
I'm happy he made the choice.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I like this Bogaerts better than the slappy one that, hit for high average and got on base more. But because, you're seeing much better production, especially in key moments. So, yeah, over to the bullpen, and then we'll get to the Tampa series. Other than Hembree, who are you really uncomfortable with in this bullpen? Because I think it's getting to the point where it's kind of sneaky good again.
It is good, and nobody, because they've been great since the All-Star break.
Yeah, and just
minus Kimbrel for a little bit.
2 examples. Kelly has only given up 2 earned runs in his last 12 appearances dating back to July 28th. And then Thornburg, surprisingly, has only given up 3 runs in his last 13 appearances. And that goes back to July 22nd. And I think with Thornburg, his whip's a little bit higher. He tends to give up a hit or 2 per appearance. So it's looking like he's scuffling, but ultimately not a lot of guys are scoring. And if he can rein it in a little bit, then he's that late inning guy. And I know Brazier is going to have something to say about that because he's been lights out. But, just a little bit of fine-tuning, and Thornburg could really, be that 8th inning guy, if not this year, next year. And with Kelly specifically, this is the way Joe Kelly needs to be utilized. He needs to be a situational guy, hopefully not used in back-to-back games, and I think that's where he's ultimately going to thrive. If you try to say, all right, Joe, the 8th inning is yours, it might work for a little while like it did earlier in the year, but he's going to fall off the cliff, and he's going to have to go back on mop-up duty for a few weeks again. And I hope Cora keeps Kelly in this role because he's pitching very well. His off-speed stuff is a little bit better. His fastball's moving a little bit more. And I just think we're going to be a much better bullpen going forward if it stays that way.
Yeah, I mean they're a really good bullpen, and for Kelly is when he's hot, he's hot. When he's not type of guy. He's a very streaky pitcher, and he's been like that his whole career. If he's hot, you can pitch him in the 8th inning and be comfortable with it. If he's not, then it comes into situational 6th inning, 7th inning, every other night, 7th inning, and I'm fine with that. Whatever he is, when you get to the playoffs, ride him, right? If he's playing well, he's your 7th inning guy, great. If he's then you just bring him in when you need him. But as a whole, the bullpen's been great this year. They have a 3.31 ERA as a unit. That's 5th in the league. They have a batting average against a 227, which is, top 5 in the league again. And shutouts in the bullpen, they've had 12, which is top 5 as well. So they've been really good all year, and they're continuing to be well. And there's still help available in Feltman, who is still in the low minors. I don't know why. Still dominating. Go look up his numbers. Still crushing it. He should come up at some point. People are saying that the waiver line, we should pick somebody up. Kind of hard to pick somebody up on waivers when you're last on the list. If people don't know how waivers work, it goes opposite of your record. So the worst team in baseball has the number 1 waiver claim, and then the best team in baseball has the last. And then when you use yours up, when you take a waiver claim, you go to the back of the line. But the Red Sox are down at the bottom of the league. Anyone that needs a pitcher is going to pick it up, even if they don't need a pitcher. And someone comes along, the Yankees or Houston or even the Cubs will just block them by picking them up for a bag of balls. I.e., look at Daniel Murphy. I don't think he went for anything crazy, right?
No.
The Cubs, they don't even really need him. But they pick him up so no one else can have him, and they could use him right now with Brian out. So there's help built into this Red Sox team for the bullpen. The bullpen's been good. Anyone that isn't saying it's good isn't paying attention. Oakland, the hottest team in baseball right now, and their bullpen, who at one point was 50-0 when leading after 7 innings. Their numbers as their bullpen in 1 game played less, a 3.32 ERA higher, a exact batting average, 7 more strikeouts than us, 4 more walks than us, in only 20 or so more innings than us.
Yeah, pretty good. It's I'm pretty comfortable with it, and the emergence of Brazier has just given us that much more stability. And when you want to talk about the minors, I think you're more likely to see Travis Lakins as a call-up before Feltman.
Yeah, you'll see him during the 40-man. I think Feltman might get the call-up just because when the 40-mans come up, he's going to get pushed up, right, to AA or AAA. And if he does well there's no reason not to bring him up. Just similar to the move the Blue Jays did with, I was telling you guys about my buddy from my hometown, Tom Pannone. They brought him up. He went through single, double, AAA. And the minors this year, he's 24 years old. Feltman's a couple years younger than that. But they brought him up as relief. He pitched an inning or 2, sat him back down. He almost threw a no-hitter a couple games ago against the Orioles, went 7 innings, 1 hit, giving up the hit in the step. Absolutely dealing. Had only 3 strikeouts, only 2 walks, a bunch of ground balls. But another guy that they brought up slow later in the year. He was suspended 80 games this year. Could have came earlier. But Feltman, they're doing the same thing with, and I think he will get called up. And if he does well in AA and AAA during the 40-man roster, if he doesn't make it, you'll see him at the end of the year, I think.
Well, it'll be interesting. I mean, we talk about Brandon Finnegan and how he was pitching in some key spots in that 2014 playoff run that the Royals had. So there's always a bit of intrigue when a new guy gets called up. So
and no one knows about him either, which is nice.
Yeah, one other thing I have to sneak in here actually before we get to the Tampa series. Dustin Pedroia was kind of in the news this week, and apparently he started a running program last Friday and says he'd like to get in a spot where he could help the team this year. That sounds terrible.
From the bench.
Yeah.
He's helping as a coach. He's helping as a mentor. He's helping as a locker room guy. He's not going to help this team out in the field.
It is hard
Especially
for him
to. Now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's just better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like how can anybody make the case that the Red Sox need Dustin Pedroia on this historic year? I mean, we haven't even mentioned, I don't think, that we've won 90 wins. 90 wins.
39 losses.
Right. So it's just crazy.
Mind you, this is a team that's improved even more so. Think about it a couple of years ago. We thought that Red Sox team was really good when it had Poppy, Pedroia, everybody like that. It was a team without Poppy, without PD. Really without pretty much our starting catcher at the beginning of the year. I think it's pretty incredible what these guys have done to this point.
No Hanley.
Yep.
Right. Another team that's crazy right now is the Cardinals. They got rid of Grichuk, Piscotty, Pham. Their manager.
Added Matt Adams.
Yeah, they just added him, right. And he came from there originally.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're coming out of nowhere. I hope they get in. That's awesome.
In. They might win the division. They're only like 2.5 out from the Cubs or something like that.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
As of a couple nights ago, they were less than 3 games out from the Cubs for first place in the division.
Wow.
Well, they went on like an 8-game stretch, lost a game, and then went on like another 5-game stretch of winning. Getting to the point like they've won 8 out of their last 10 and have won 3 in a row.
They're 3 back out right now from the Cubs, and the Cubs won tonight, so they're 2.5 going into tonight. 8-2 in their last 10. The Cardinals are
MVP candidate Matt Carpenter, by the way.
Oh, 100%. To put it in perspective, Terry, the Cardinals have the 3rd most wins in the National League. The only teams above them, 72 for Atlanta, 73 for the Cubs.
Wow.
Yeah. They have 71.
I hope they came out of nowhere in 2011 when they won the World Series because Atlanta had to have their own epic collapse, and that's how the Cardinals got in. And as Austin knows, the rest is history. Yeah. All right, so finally, let's just get into this Tampa series. All we know for starters is on Sunday we're going to face Blake Snell, who we tend to hit fairly well. Nice
to see him back, though, and healthy.
Yeah. This is a series where I do kind of miss Chris Sale because with the way we've ran throughout the year, I'd like to say, this is a sweep. A 3-game set, that's a very possibly a sweep. But we have Hector Velasquez going on Friday. You don't know what you're going to get. You might get 2 innings out of him. You might get 5 or 6 if you're lucky. Porcello, should be pretty solid. And then who knows with Eovaldi right now because things are just up and down with him. And you would think that this would be a good matchup for him. Well, he's going to be facing Snell now that I think about it, but this could be a good team for him to kind of steady himself and then move forward. And like you guys said, we have the White Sox coming up and one other bad team in there.
Miami.
Yeah.
Yep.
They destroyed the Yankees, though, the other night.
They did. But, so, well, obviously, not jumping around, we're with the series, but my predictions, I'm not going to give wins or losses. I'm going to give you pitching predictions. Ready? Mark it down. Velasquez going 4 innings. Porcello going 6 1/3. Eovaldi's going 6.
Think Eovaldi's going 6?
Yep. Eovaldi didn't pitch that great against Cleveland, but he pitched really well against Philly. He only gave up 1 earned run, and he would have went longer, like we said. And he had 2 really good starts when he came here. That Baltimore start really put a sour taste in everybody's mouth, but as a 4-5 starter making $2 million off 2 Tommy Johns and throws 97 miles an hour on average, he's been a really good pitcher for us. And I hopefully would like to see him back next year as a Red Sox. If he doesn't work out, he's very tradable if you can get him at $3 or $4 million. I don't think the Red Sox will because they have crazy depth pitching-wise, especially with the emergence of Brian Johnson and the continuance of Velasquez from last year, who's 7-1 this year. And at one point
just got his first loss.
Yeah, at one point held the longest stretch in the American League of pitchers without a loss that was qualified. So I think Eovaldi's going to pitch well against Tampa. There's no reason for him not to. The only thing maybe that he wouldn't be is that they know him personally, so they maybe know a little bit about him, but seems a lot different. And, the Red Sox don't really tip pitches as a team, as a squad, as a lineup, other than Porcello against Toronto for some reason. But other
they
than that,
know something.
Yeah.